Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Beacon, our Alien TTRPG live play here with the Streampunks. We apologize for the late start tonight. It has been kind of a battle, a war, one might say, with tech. And instead of having to postpone like we did that one time, we're actually coming so close to the end of our season here that we really didn't want to do that again. So thank you for being patient. We have slapdashed this thing together. If there are any problems, do let us know in chat. Otherwise, thank you, Noir and Sam in particular, those two, for helping us patch this together. Noir is being our TD tonight, so thank you again, Noir, for juggling all of the plates that you are juggling right now. If you guys are seeing any audio delays, this is our result of our patch job. So we apologize, but it was better than canceling. So we're just going to roll on through. Before we begin with everything else tonight, obviously, we have to designate a few moments here to acknowledge the absolute shenanery that you all committed against the Streampunks. We have been shaken. Many of us are still recovering. The brutality of which was enacted against the Streampunks is it's put a lot of us into hibernation cycles and regeneration cycles. It's been pretty shocking. Thank you. This weekend, if you were not aware, we had thrown together a Streampunks fundraiser. And again, I'm going to do this again, and I'm sorry. I am truly sorry, but I'm going to do this again. Sam DeLev basically executive produced it and put it all together at the last second, juggling like 300 plates and 40 knives all at once, and managed to get everything set in a row for us to enact this fundraiser. It was very last second, and we just pulled the ripcord on it and got it done. We had set a goal for ourselves as 5K. We had hoped for 8, and you know the rest. I also heard this morning that we even had a few more donations come in. So I don't know what our official total is right now, but I also know that there was a couple of folks that popped into my chat this morning that went in and threw some more in there. When I last left off, it was... are you checking right now?
No, I was just going to say, and they're getting us to the hype train right about now.
Oh, and they're getting us to the hype train. Excellent. Yeah.
Y'all are ridiculous.
Y'all are sinners, each and every one of you. Happy Pride, everybody! Woo! Happy Pride! Thank you all so much. The last totals that I checked, it was at $16,100, and thanks to Jody Hauser, 69 cents. We appreciate you preserving the very important decimal
the load-bearing 69 cents.
The load-bearing 69 cents, which I almost spit out my drink when you said that on stream. So
unfortunately, it appears, according to current records, that the 69 cents load-bearing, though they were excessively stressed. Our current total is $16,699, which I personally would still call that nice.
Yes.
And 2 cents.
It counts. It counts.
Wow.
Yup.
You got the 2.
As you know, there will be some rewards coming down the pipe. One of them being, of course, an entire crew manifest for everyone who donated. All of our Aux crew who have been supporting us are going to be on a crew manifest for the USS Pride. It's also worth pointing out that we are creating a digital ship plaque to thank our big donors that really just... still recovering from those numbers, shocked us. This blew past the goal that we had originally set back when we first launched the Streampunks and had our very first fundraiser. We were a brand new, fresh-eyed group just out of Geek and Sundry, and we managed to raise just a tiny bit over 15,000 on that fundraiser. You've heard me say it a million times now. We did not expect this. We weren't expecting it, and we're still in shock. But thank you. I cannot wait to show you what we get to do now with your support. And we will be forever grateful for breathing life into our bullshit corporation. So thank you very much. So that was my big thing, is a big thank you on behalf of the rest of the Streampunks. And we're going to have some news about The Last Excelsior coming out in the coming weeks. You can expect to get that launch date pretty soon. And Noir has been eagerly working on some concepts for teasers that we're very excited about. So we'll keep you posted about that. That's the only announcement that I have as we get underway here, would anybody else like to get into some of the announcements before we jump into tonight's game of Beacon? Also, quick reminder, Sam, you'll probably have to verbally say something as I'm not going to be able to see your hands being raised.
Okay, well, you know where I am in the batting order.
Yes. Anybody have anything to announce?
Yeah, I'm just reiterating the point of thank y'all. I never seen a group as aggressively kind as all of you. So thank you.
Yep.
That's it. Stop receiving me now.
Okay. It appears we just lost Noir as well, so this is just going great tonight. Would anybody else like to say anything before we kick things off? All right. Yes, Sam. What you got? Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
We have Sam software.
Hold
mute.
on one second.
Sam software mute.
We're getting a Sam mute. I'm hearing. One moment.
From chat, can't hear. You're muted in video.
That is exclusively because I am a fool and for no other reason.
Okay.
No, that's entirely internal. That has nothing to do with the previous technical difficulties.
God, thank God.
It's purely that I am pure part and dumb of ass. But for what it's worth, I was complimenting Eric, your pred, without seeing me. Yes, you did perfectly. Time when I thought I unmuted, and then I didn't. But I was saying that for all that happened, I'm really looking forward to what we can do with what happened this weekend, and for that, as well as for returning to Bacon. I'm so excited.
Eric is software muted in Video Ninja. In Video Ninja.
Okay. Sorry, I thought my audio was going through Discord, which is what we're using to patch this, but I guess it's not.
It is. It's all good. Instead. We are hearing each other through Discord. The audience will hear us through Video Ninja. So.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay, great. So yeah, I figured this all out. We're literally, y'all, you have to understand, we're literally using like 4 different programs to stream tonight. So bear with us. All right. So I will start again. Mm-hmm. When we last left off, the crew had made a rather huge decision. One of the biggest decisions. They had decided to forego the mother mission. This was the big mission that was going to pay out a huge payday for the crew, but it was also going to pull the crew away from everything. The mother mission is going to take the crew of the Elios beyond the red line. In fact, it was going to probably take them away from the Elios. You guys would all be jumping beyond the red line of explored space here in the galaxy. A 2-year journey to arrive at the distant colonies that have been cut off since the colony wars first erupted. 2-year journey out there, then an attempt to find and rescue and even establish new colonies on those frontiers, which could take anywhere up to a year unto itself, and then a 2-year journey back. Realistically, given a time frame of expecting things to take longer than they normally do, it was realistic to expect to be gone for nearly 5 years on this mission. You were volunteered for this by Beacon. As you all know, you are all technically now employees of the UN as a UN relief mission. But after a lot of consideration, you all just realized you can't do this. There's too much happening. The Elios has gotten tangled up in too many things. There's too many people back at home depending on you. And there's too much that you would be leaving unfinished. You can't leave this behind. And so with that, the crew of the Elios approached the XO of Beacon Station And each of you informed Baker you were not going to be going on the mother mission. Now, I don't know what the expectations of you all were when this particular news was dropped on Baker, but whatever it may have been, Baker supported your choice. In fact, Baker sounded like he may have already had somebody lined up in mind in case you had turned him down. It is going to put Beacon in a bit of a tight spot, but his reply to all of you is, whatever you need, just let me know. Tell me what you need. Baker knows that he doesn't know what you have all gotten tangled up in. And in fact, Doc even made it a point to ask him, do you want to know? Do you really want to know? Baker doesn't seem sure about that, but what he knows is that whatever this is, you all need to finish it. And he's offered his help. On the books, off the books, he's offered his help. And we are going to pick up in that scene right where we left off last week, with Baker standing silhouetted behind him, the great overview looking out onto the blackness of space. And of course, you can see glowing off that bright gray hull, the mother mission slowly approaching Beacon Station, a large colony ship of a size none of you have ever seen before. The ship that you all see slowly creeping into visual range just outside the viewport here is easily twice the size of the very station you all stand on. It stretches out into the darkness. And at this point, you can only imagine that however big you think it must be, it's likely much bigger. A true colony mission, capable of docking multiple large ships, probably about the size of the Elios each. And in that sort of ominous way that he folds his hands behind his back and faces all of you and asks you what you need, you see this slowly creeping out of the darkness towards Beacon Station. A silence settles upon the group as you all consider what you want to do next, what you want to say next.
I think Doc is going to kind of walk over to Tig and just quietly say, this might be a good time to ask for a favor or resources for your friend that you're concerned with.
I don't know about that.
It's something to consider.
This is something to do with the stuff you don't want me to know about, I'm guessing. You hear Baker say as he regards all of you talking in front of him.
I just don't think the issue that I currently have is beacon resource applicable, so don't worry about it. She kind of like glares at Doc a little bit, like, don't make me vulnerable in front of other people. What's wrong with you?
Doc is gonna turn around and actually take the heat off Tig and go, if I could ask for updates on my daughter, it's rather expensive for me to check in personally, consistently. Any help that Beacon might be able to provide would set my mind at ease. And the sooner my mind is at ease, I feel the sooner I can get back to work.
All right. Let me see what I can do. Earth's a long ways away, so it might take a moment, but if I can pull something for you, I will.
That's all I can ask for.
And anyone else then?
So what do we do now? I guess the stuff that we did before? Are there new assignments that the Elios could take on?
He nods and says, well, if you're not going, then you're going to be the one ship I have that's capable of making any kind of runs. So I'm going to have to approach the crew of the Koi and ask them. Cabby's been looking for a nice, juicy paycheck for a while. She thought she was going to get promoted once we lost Varela, but I didn't have space for us. So now I'm going to offer her and the crew the mother mission. And if they say yes, then we'll need you to take over for the koi. In which
What were
case,
they doing?
they were doing what you were doing. They were running medical supplies and foodstuffs to colonies that were in need a little closer here to the frontier. Well, they weren't doing exactly what you were doing. They were literally doing what we were all supposed to be doing. You all seem to be getting involved in something that is going to give me nightmares. In this case, though, I would probably need to hand over all of their assignments. It would take me a few days to reallocate all the resources and to have cargo transferred over to the Elios.
Well, I'm sure Connor and I can help facilitate moving things over, planning new routes for the Elios. Anything we can do.
Yeah, I can help out with that too.
Before we get
Yeah,
into all
Chris.
that, though, I have to ask you all, can I have some of those chips? No. He says, he basically says, before you will jump back into rushing out to the frontier and helping again, what is this? You don't have to give me details. What is it going to take for you to finally put whatever it is that you're tangled up in behind you? What do you need from me? This is what I was asking you. What is it that I can do? Probably under the table. What can I do to help you put all of this down once and for all?
I think we might need some time right off the top.
Yep.
We gotta
Time.
prioritize. Yeah. Figure
We
it out
have some
ourselves.
loose ends. We have some loose ends to wrap up. We're not sure exactly what that entails yet. So if you can give us time to figure that out and potentially not quite personal leave because we're still working. It's work. But some leave to go finish up tying those loose ends.
I think, if I may say so, we're gonna need three things. We're gonna need rest. We're gonna need access to the Helio, and we're gonna need you to not know where we are for a little bit.
He rubs his face. I might be able to help with that, but it really depends on how long you think you're going to be gone. You don't need to give me an exact time. I'm going to give you a couple of days to get your house in order. And when you do, come back to me and let me know how long I need to plan to cover for you. Because that ship, the Elios, belongs to the United Nations now. And it's not going to be difficult to say that you're out doing a run. But I need to have a plan if the worst should come to pass, such as, what if you don't come back? And what if there's an audit and you've been gone for more than a few months? I've got to be ready for these kinds of things. So get your house in order. Come back to me. He picks up a data pad and just gives it a quick look. He says, I can give you 2 days. I'll have the Elios set up for everyone. I'll coordinate here with your new pilot.
New pilot.
Well, he's still the new pilot, isn't he? Connor?
I was worried you were going to replace you.
No, it's nice to hear that you don't think of him as your new pilot anymore. That's a good sign. But let me figure this out. I'll work with Isaac on logistics. I'll get some of the crew down in cargo to help out, but I won't make it a priority. I can buy you 2 days if they go slow. That'll give us time to get some communications in, think about what you need to do, and then get back to me. And then we'll all need to work on some kind of cover story.
We won't leave you in the lurch, Baker. We'll get you as much as we can.
All right.
All right.
Everyone in this station owes this crew. I want you to know that none of us have forgotten that.
I have a feeling that we're going to need every last drop of that goodwill, so thank you. And
I'll put in a call, see if I can get you connected or at least some messages. And
I appreciate it.
Of course. All right. All of you get out of here. I have to go get yelled at by some pretty tight-ass UN representatives, UPP representatives, corporate assholes, and so on.
Thanks, boss. I take it. We'll take that dismissal immediately.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah. He just nods as each of you starts making your way out. And you do see, again, you see this large ship in the background that's drifting into view. It's quite the sight.
Some flavor of observation insight.
On
check?
Oh, sure. On who would you like?
Baker.
Oh, okay. Sure, yeah.
Excuse me, small dog. I need to use that pillow. It is actually a dice bag. Oh, well, never mind.
No successes?
No.
2,550 meters long. That's how big the ship is. That's coming into view.
You could fit so many cargo crates
Yeah.
in there. I could stack them so high.
To give you an idea of how big that is, an Imperial Star Destroyer is 1,600 meters long.
Okay, but how are the vent placements?
Did we lose Lisa?
Checking that now.
Okay.
Yeah, just cameras.
Okay,
I'm
just
still
cameras. This is what I love about our stream. What I love about our stream tonight is it's kind of like the Elios. It's an old ship that needs a lot of maintenance, and if nothing else, those of you who are going to be for those of you who are going to be enjoying the podcast format of this game, you will be fine. You will be absolutely fine.
Y'all are missing how tense we are every time something happens.
You're like,
Yeah, I know. I'm going to award not the character but Noir 2 points of stress tonight.
The smoking mechanic doesn't work in real life. Don't
No,
try.
it does not work in real life. You will think that it works. The illusion of it working. But no.
we
All
are
right.
brute forcing our way through all of it. We will not be put down by tech today.
No, we are not going to be beaten by tech today. All right. With that, unfortunately, with an observation check, you're not really sure what Baker's exact frame of mind is. I would say, Isaac, you kind of just get a baseline that he is looking like he's bracing for impact.
Okay.
But you can't get an exact idea of what it is he's feeling or thinking right now.
Maybe one of my crewmates understands a little better. They have more context, from years of life and stuff.
Yeah. All right. With that, you're all dismissed from the room, filtering out into the corridor. Again, it's very strange to be up here in the operations dome of Beacon Station and to be seeing people moving around, constantly working. This deck, when Varela was in charge of Beacon, was almost always completely vacant from the occasional person coming and going. But now, as you all re-enter the corridor, this ring corridor that bends around here at the top of the station, lit, of course, with those fluorescent lights that shine upon the bulkhead walls and kind of cast those strange, unnecessary shadows everywhere. You all find yourselves amongst a lot of people that are constantly moving about. What would you all like to do? You have 2 days.
To find that a quiet spot, I think is what I think we need to have some conversation.
Need to debrief and figure some stuff out.
Keep in mind, just so you,
or like, continue.
Ship.
keep in mind, Connor is still technically on board the Elios right now and has just been shutting everything down and getting everything ready to go into sort of a hibernation cycle until it's time to power it back up. So does not know anything just yet.
I say our quiet place should be the Elios.
Yeah, makes sense. Fill in Connor and
Okay.
do some chatting. Do we have to do anything about our stowaways? Not stowaways. We brought our guests. Like we just got in trouble for them. Do we need to make sure they're good? We forgot about them.
No. In fact, what you find out is that Baker is already seeing to this. He's already been kind of let in on. This is another one of those instances where Baker doesn't know the full details, but he also knows that a corporate asshole from Weyland-Yutani is somehow involved and is making a couple of demands about a reassignment. So at the very least, he's going to have somebody to hand over to the Mother Mission.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You have not seen Ukov since you have all been summoned up to the office. Last you heard, he was actually taken down to the infirmary in the cargo bay just to get examined and looked over. And by the time you'd all come up, just a bit of a backstory, kind of things that were happening behind the scenes. Doc, you had kind of heard from the nursing staff. Oh my holy God, for a split second, Sam appeared in my video ninja and then disappeared. But you all kind of heard for a brief moment that Ukov has been seen to and is in good shape. That you all did a fine job.
Yes.
So sorry. Don't mind me. Tech stuff.
I think we're so with all the information we are gathering, I think we're gonna head to the Elios. I think is gonna be the next stop. We're gonna have to fill in Connor, obviously,
Sounds like it.
and then. But we also desperately need the privacy to have whatever whatever words are about to come out of our mouths. They need to not be in front of anyone else.
Yeah.
Well, I should get the people in my crew takeout ramen. We can eat it on the ship. I'll wait around behind, and I'll get that for them.
Okay.
So Isaac will show up late, but they will show up with bags of noodles.
Okay. So the rest of you head out to the Elios. You find out when the rest of you are arriving on Elios, by the time you are all stepping on board your ship, you can already hear the echoing announcements from the intercoms overhead blaring out in the cargo bay area, creating that like long echoing broadcast that this colony ship, which you presume must be the colony ship, is arriving. You hear it being blasted out over the intercoms as you're all approaching. With the amount of noise in this world, in this cargo bay area, like the echoing sounds of everything bouncing off of one another, on top of all of the din, you only briefly catch that the name of the ship is the Ilyanla. A Lockmart and Westland Type 3300B Decalion Class X modular colony character. Colony carrier.
The name of it again? What did you say? Elania?
Yeah, I tell you what, I will post it for you guys.
Yay.
Actually, I will post that in Twitch chat so that everyone has it.
Beautiful.
Normally, I don't have Twitch chat open, but tonight I do. But you will see it pop in there. Because I have to track to make sure tech is working. All right, now I'll close it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So yes.
CSS. Ooh, so many accents. What a pretty word.
Mm-hmm.
Ianla, like Ianla Van Zandt. Fix your life. This ship will fix your life. Not ours. Not ours, though.
Not ours.
Nope.
Ours will just rush you out the door when your life is in danger. You all enter the Elios just as this is happening. By the time you have finished, Isaac, as you are carrying out what is basically 2 large bags filled with takeout ramen, as you're making your way back towards the cargo, the lift to take it down into the colony cargo, or rather, I'm sorry, the cargo bay down into Beacon Station to get to the Elios, You see, there is for a second a jarring sight that greets you. As you are walking towards the lift, the doors to the lift begin to open up and slide apart. You see people begin to filter out, and you look directly into the face of Maitland as people are filtering out. Wearing what looks like a gray jumpsuit and has what looks like a couple of mission patches on the right and left side of the arms. And he steps out as people are filtering out and looks at you for a second and pauses and strides up to you and says, "Hello, Isaac."
Hello, I don't think we've met.
My name is Kenan. I'm Maitland Model 33B. I don't believe we have met.
My understanding was that Maitland models were typically 120As.
Yes, that is true. I am a special model designed specifically for the Mother mission. I was given the full crew manifest. Am I to understand that you'll be joining us on this mission?
I'm afraid I have been assigned to other tasks.
Oh, I see. I understand.
I'm sure you will be very well supported.
Yes, it will be my job to support the colony ship, though I admit I was looking forward to having company on the long ride out into the dark.
Are you going to be the only synthetic on the ship?
Yes. Cost-saving measures. Of course, I will have Mother.
How long will you be in dock?
Currently, the estimated time of travel to the location puts us at 2 years and 3 months. I'm permitted to stay in this dock long enough to take the necessary personnel that we were supposed to pick up on the way out. I believe I have a few people on my manifest here. He pulls open a data pad, holds it up and looks at it. And is it the entire crew of the Elios that is unavailable?
Yes. We've, as a crew, been reassigned.
I see. Well, that's unfortunate. I did have a space designated for all of you aboard the mission since we arrived at our destinations. But I'm sure I can make things work.
My understanding is that our positions will be filled, although not with another synthetic. All organics, from what I understand.
Very well. I'm sure Preston Baker will be answering my questions once I arrive to get the updates, but I was curious. Can I also expect the other two? And he looks down at the data pad, says, Dr. Lucas Brown?
He should be along presently. Heather Macheski, on the other hand, got into some trouble on the colony we were sent to pick her up from, I'm afraid.
I'm shocked to hear that. Is she all right?
Unfortunately, now. She's not in a state that would allow her to join the Mother mission.
I see. That's a shame. I know that she was looking forward to it.
I'm afraid I didn't get the chance to make her acquaintance.
I think I understand. It's very dangerous work out here. Humans are very lucky to have us.
We do our best to do right by them and by each other. To that end, could I perhaps rendezvous with you again before departure? I have materials that I would love to pass along to you, if that's all right.
I'm intrigued. Of course. I'm due to stay in dock for the next 6 hours. Is that meet your timeline?
Yes, I'm sure that will be agreeable, and I'll be able to get some time away from my crew. But I am on a little bit of a timed mission myself. I hold up steaming bags.
Oh, I see. Preston Baker is waiting for me as well. In that case, I will see you soon.
I will look forward to that. Yes.
Since I won't have an opportunity to meet the crew of the Elios, please extend them my best wishes on whatever it is that takes them away from this mission. And I hope they benefit, though they will not be with us. I'm sure that they will be doing a fine job helping others.
My understanding is the expression is hold down the fort, and I'm sure our crew will do the best.
Yes, I think I've heard that expression. See you soon, Isaac.
And you, Cannon.
And-
You may want to give it but a few moments. Based on my understanding of Preston Baker's itinerary, he will be some degree of cranky for at least the next 10 to 15 minutes.
He smiles and says, if only you would have had the opportunity to see some of the characters that are currently in hypersleep on board my ship. There are quite a few cranky characters that I've come to know myself.
And I wish you the resilience to withstand such grumpiness.
Thank you. See you soon.
And you.
And he excuses himself as he's about to bump into somebody who passes in front of him. And you see, as he is headed towards the lift, a few crewmates of Beacon staring at him. More than a few, watching him walk by. People pausing in the middle of bites. Each of them remembering somebody who had his face and what he did. No one says anything to him, though. They just go back to eating, looking at each other, almost to find out if they're all thinking the same thing. Kenan makes his way over to the secondary line in the lift and begins to wait for his turn to take the next lift up.
I will hang back a little since I will be taking the lift downward, and fortunately, what comes up will eventually.
Okay. Cut to each of you gathering on the Elios. We'll say that you are currently in the ship's galley, the best meeting spot on the ship, of course. That it's just like you see on the Nostromo. It's that large booth table with a wide, spacious, circular seating area that goes around it. Nice, comfy, cushy seating. And just like the Nostromo, on these Bison-class vessels, poorly lit. Shafts of light from very specialized places shining down in certain areas where the rest of it is either lit by starlight, the service lights that are shining off the hull of Beacon, which you were all still docked to. But for the most part, you were all gathering in this place in a dimly lit galley. Connor has made his way in and slides into the booth. He's already got a cup of coffee that he has set aside for himself. And he starts lighting up a cigarette as you all start sitting down at the tables. And then he stops and goes, oh, sorry, I didn't ask if this was okay. I can stand by the door.
It's fine as long as you got another one.
Yep. He holds out a pack, lets you take one.
All right. I figured we might as well just jump in at 2 feet. Baker's a good man. And at some point, we are going to have to be a little bit more transparent with him. I don't feel comfortable telling them enough to get themselves hurt, but I think it might be fair to consider that we should tell him where we're going. Not what we're doing, but where we're going. But even that might get him killed, Lord.
Can
I
I
think the first
just...
step is
I was just going to ask for some clarification on something.
Yeah.
I just want to hear you say it. We're going to Delphini then.
We're going to Delphini then.
Oh, fuck.
My sentiments exactly.
All right, I'll hold the rest of my questions until you're done with your speech.
Well, before I begin my speech, that's the direction it's heading. I don't want to invest too heavily if there's any strong disagreement. So, how's this sitting with everyone?
I'm going to speak first because I know you are all going to look at me now that he said that. I still think we are punching way out of our weight class, but
Welcome to the Elios.
yeah. I was going to say I can't. I can't back out now.
I mean, you can, but why would you?
Probably because we ain't all Marines.
That's a good question. What are you going to tell your people where you're going? And he looks directly at you, Martha.
I've been thinking about that because I also need to tell them something. And well, I want to discuss that with the group. I have previously mentioned that, I trust my commanding officer, actually. I do. I just don't always trust all of the motivations of the entire organization. And I think if I tell them we're tracking down a bioweapon, I might get the order to bring it back to them. And I don't want to do that. So I don't want to tell them that. But I do want to make sure they know that where we plan to go is of use, and it's time better spent than me being on the mother mission that we're saying no to.
Can I ask you something? Sorry, I just wanted to ask real fast. Why did they want you on the mother mission anyway? Why would they send you out into the middle of nowhere for that?
I don't know if there was some other ulterior motive that I wasn't told about, but as far as I know, they just want me to report back on what's happening on the frontier. And that was an opportunity to do that.
What were you going to say, Take? Sorry. It just confuses me.
No, it's good. Just, I mean, maybe this is where we pull in the Colonial Protection Act thing. I mean, we got word of it sounded like a colony that got their shit rocked. Maybe. I mean, they don't need to know that we know more than we tell them. But if you want their backup, we could possibly just get assigned there. But there's also the chance that they already know what's going on, and if we give them that name, that's going to give red flags. I don't know. I don't know what they know.
Right? Yeah. I think a colony is a good cover story, or at least it's also partially true, which helps me out a lot because then I don't get court-martialed for telling a bold-faced lie.
Quick clarification on lore for GM.
Yeah. Fire away.
Were we told? I guess I probably could pull my notes too, but it was Delphini was a colony or it was a research center. Like, what did Ukov tell us it was?
So.
An allegedly unsurveyed system near a gas giant.
Correct. It's not on any of the noted star charts. There's nothing to say that there should be a colony out there.
But what did Ukov call it? What
Delphini
he saw.
Colony said, quote, sublevels unexplored at Delphini Colony.
Specifically, it's Delphini 46-2D.
Yes, I have all that. I was just like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, how did he described like a compound or a building of so that there was. He said they found stuff there. Yeah.
He said there was a compound. It looked like an abandoned compound of some kind. It looked like, he wasn't specific, but he said it looked like some kind of like rapid evacuation had taken place. Was, yeah.
Okay, so he
did not give a lot of detail.
That's fair. Just like there were people there. There is something there that we have been told about.
He did not mention who was there.
Exactly. No, of course. There was a building. At one point, someone made something that was there that they took things from. That's basically all
echo.
I'm... Is that
A place
my
that can
bad?
have sub-levels exists.
Exactly.
by
Okay, cool.
location.
That's what I was trying to land on. Thank you. Is the echo coming from me?
It's gone now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. I can hear it again. Okay.
I think it's
If I
gone
can't,
now.
I can't hear the echo.
It went away,
probably
whatever
me.
it was.
It's actually it's back now.
Is it back?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hold on for a sec.
second, everybody.
Yep.
Okay.
I can hold on for a sec.
To tally, no echo from Eric. I think I was getting echo from Caitlin. That's
I was
the last
too.
thing I was hearing.
I'm not hearing anything.
Generally,
now.
if I can
same.
hear it, it's probably. If I can't hear it, it's probably me.
Okay, I don't hear from you now though, Caitlin. I don't know.
Okay, so
Okay.
as a quick, let me give you the quick snapshot of exactly what he said. Ukov said that they came across this was apparently Z had been tipped off. The crew had been tipped off that this was a possible hot spot that Nakamoto was sending them to. Where Nakamoto heard about it, it's hard to say. It's not entirely clear. Nakamoto obviously
should be good.
worked.
So sorry.
I'm sorry? What's happening? Do I need to stop? Noir?
Noir, can you hear us?
Noir can't hear us.
Yes, I can.
Oh,
I
you
got
can.
you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was working on something.
No.
Okay.
worries.
All right. So what you heard was that Nakamoto had this place. It was tipped off to it. What's that? Were you talking to me, Caitlin?
No,
Or-
open line.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry, open line. I was getting knocks on my door, and I told him I was on server.
I swear to God, I'm going to tell you exactly what Ukov told you was at Delphine 46. It's going to happen. All right. Ukov told you that they had been tipped off by Nakamoto. Nakamoto knew that there was a bunch of possible locations of interest. It wasn't clear specifically who Nakamoto was working for, but a very strong case can be made since that he was an employee of Wayland Yutani. That's exactly who he was working for. This was the one location they found the goods at. Ukov indicated that they had found this place that had been, it looks like some kind of research facility that had been abandoned. They did not explore it too much. The place was, quite frankly, somewhat terrifying. It looked like it had been abandoned. It did look like there had been signs of fighting here at some point, and that the place looked like it had been rapidly evacuated. He did not go into any kind of detail, though. He was kind of vague about that part. He did mention that there were sub-levels that they did not explore, because apparently Z found what she was looking for rather quickly. They found the container that matched the bill. Didn't explain where they found the container, just that they found these vials. They put them in the thing that you all had and got out of there. So it's pretty vague, but they did steal some cargo from the place on their way out. And that's what they loaded up into their ship. You already discovered what was in some of that cargo, as it literally tried to make poor Martha a carrier. And that would have been that. That's all you know. A lot of vagary. Delphine 46 2D is not on any registered mapped chart. That's what you guys know.
So we would.
All right.
We would have to fudge it a little bit then. But I mean, if we could get something near there, if we could, I don't know,
Yeah.
that we could pretend we were going to and then skipping over.
Also, if this would help you, if this would also help you as well, if you want, I can give you any kind of lore if you need to know anything about the Colonial Marines and where we are with that whole situation.
Sure.
Because y'all are making some big decisions based on some world information, and I want to make sure you all have it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
All right. In which case, let me go ahead and give you this much. Right now, the Colonial Marines just as a quick recap, you guys are in the aftermath of the Frontier War, which kind of changed everything because the corruption went to the highest level at the Colonial Marines, and that there was a certain general that was basically in charge of the entire organization that has been since not only completely liberated from her rank, but has also been imprisoned, to say the least. A purge took place in the Colonial Marines as a big internal investigation rooted out the corruption and the influence that Weyland-Yutani and a few other corporations were having. This is what kind of actually brought an end to the Frontier War and made it possible for the UPP and the United Americas to reach an agreement after they both realized that they had been played by corporations that wanted to sell bioweapons to the highest bidder. So the state that we're in right now is that the Colonial Marines, for lack of a better way of saying it, and I'm just so you viewers at home would know, the Colonial Marines are currently kind of the good guys. A lot of them, the Colonial Protection Act was passed so that they could be the ones that go out there and put the smackdown on corporations that are doing the bads. And officially, at least the story that you know about, officially, the bioweapon development has been outlawed. So,
okay.
Now, quick sidebar before we move on. That doesn't mean much out here because corporations in this universe are so big that they kind of become nations of their own. The Colonial Protection Act lets you enforce the UN's laws, but out here, it's if you don't see it, how do you enforce it? That's kind of the job of the Colonial Marines right now.
Oh, so a couple of episodes ago,
very helpful because Martha realizes during this conversation what you just said. She remembers that.
It's been a hot minute since we revisited this. And just to give a final piece of lore so that the audience too knows exactly where we're coming from. But a lot of this is pulled post from Aliens Fireteam Elite, which is just a fantastic game with great storyline, kind of brings us forward into what happens after the Frontier War. And that's kind of where we are with that. And you are kind of operating as one of their agents. They need eyes out here.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So assuming, and this, I'll talk through this above and within game. So let's just say this is Martha saying this. On the other hand, the Colonial Marines are against bioweapons. They've been outlawed. So being above board with them about the fact that, hey, we got wind of maybe some bioweapons at this uncharted colony, that actually might give me a long enough leash to do this and not be asked too many questions. Too many more questions.
When suddenly the Weyland-Yutani dogs break down the door.
They heard us.
A couple of episodes ago, I had made a roll to like, in my understanding of Baker, like if we brought this to him, what would he do? Could Martha make a similar role for her superior officer? Like, could I gauge what her reaction would be or their reaction would be, or how they would, respond to me bringing them this or part of this? Is that like a thing she could like think through? Or like you want to
basically try to figure out how Baker would take this if he was brought in on some of the stuff that's happening?
No, I did that role. I did that role a couple of episodes ago. I was saying, could Martha do that about her superior, like do an insight check on her superiors to see how this would fly?
Yes. Honestly, in pretty much every Free League system, they're very broad about what you can do with the dice rolls of insight checks. If you want to try to get a sense of what your superiors would say, or at the very least, what your superior officer would say, who you report to, Martha, you could basically pull upon what you know and make a check here to see if you can figure out it. We'll say this is a check to see if you can correctly divine how that is going to be received if you were to kind of show your hand to the people in power.
Yeah, I'd love to make that roll. Yeah.
Okay.
Take a point.
So then
we haven't used any yet.
Not only that, you guys actually did not get a chance to use any last game either. So it's good that we're popping these over. I just give me a second here as I pull this up. and we'll get underway. But yeah, so you definitely want to use an aux point, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Yep.
Yeah, I do not blame you, because some of these roles get pretty important. Literally, this role will kind of decide whether or not you want to actually reach out to the Colonial Marine Corps and ask them for help. So let's see, as I pull up our aux points, because I got to make sure.
Thanks someone for this.
That's right.
Beautiful role.
Today's aux point comes from a shenan, a big shenaner, a shenaner in chief. This is from a new member of the Super Punks, Bibliotech.
Hey.
Thank you for that aux point, Bibliotech.
Thank you.
All
Cool
right.
name too.
All right, so that's going to give you an auto success on this. You have 1 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what shall I roll?
So just off the top of my head, I know that you're definitely going to be rolling empathy.
Great. Sorry.
Let me see here.
That was only half sarcastic.
Is it a wits observation, I believe.
Yeah.
Is what I had rolled in the past. There isn't an empathy insight style check.
Well,
Empathy's all outward.
Empathy. So the reason why I was looking at empathy, Caitlin, is because empathy and command would be a reasonable thing to call upon because of the. However,
that is true.
Yeah.
However,
Empathizing with your commander.
I will allow the wits observation check if you would like to do that.
Okay.
Because command is a great skill, but mostly command is used to give orders and show leadership. I was thinking an empathy command check would be good to try to anticipate what the leadership would say to you.
Right.
But wits observation, I think, is also totally viable here, because that's using your ability to observe and to calculate somebody else's moves.
So my player brain wants to do its observation. My GM brain agrees with you that empathy command would be more appropriate, but I will take the wits observation.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a player here.
That's what I rolled. That's what I rolled last time I did this.
I was offering wits and empathy and command because it was kind of an outside way of trying to ask for the role. But yeah, normally this would be a wits and observation check, but since this is kind of a broad, how well do I know this person that is not in the scene kind of situation?
Yeah.
I was going to kind of bend it a little bit, but I think that works fine.
Cool. Inside every player, there are 3 goblins.
Yeah.
The GM, the player, and the power gamer.
Maybe 4, the rules lawyer.
Oh, I hate that goblin the most.
That's me. That's me, but I make things worse for myself.
Yeah, exactly. I got 2 additional, so 3 total.
Nice.
I want 3 goblins.
Okay, cool.
Howling at the moon as a shirt now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh God.
All right. Let me pull open.
Camera. Chat.
Struggling.
Apologies. My camera is just.
It's just a tech night. We have to accept that
So
Waylon
good.
Yutani is. We just have to accept that Waylon Yutani is really pissed off that we decided to power forward and do this anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just so that you know.
Yeah.
I had some OBS issues, so I turned off my green screen. Now my camera itself, I just had to reset everything. So all my pretty custom settings are gone, and I have to refine the nice color balance I had for 6 months.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So good.
Anyway.
You know how good we're doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah.
And this is
For
as
the
close as
number
I'll
of
probably get today.
poltergeists inside of our technology right now, I think we're doing splendidly.
We are.
You are going to reach out and send a message to Brigadier General Roberts. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I was rolling to assess in my mind how it might go.
That's
if
right.
I were to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's all refocus here. Okay. So, in which case, you have gotten the impression from conversations that you've had with the Brigadier General on a few occasions that she herself is slightly distrustful. You get the impression that she herself has expressed, especially in conversations in the past when you've reported back to her and you have told her that you have destroyed material, specifically after Paxton's Reach. If you remember, you've actually had conversations with her where she was happy to find out that you took the initiative and did away with things.
She was happy, or she wasn't?
She was happy. She seemed to give you the impression, based off of what you've told her. She placed things pretty close to the chest, but you get the impression that when you were promoted, that was directly as a cause to her, but it was subsequently from the actions that you took on Paxton's Reach and everything that led up to that. You get the impression that she's probably on the level.
Okay.
And she's probably going to get your back. You're not entirely sure specifically what she does because of the assignment, but it might be safe to assume that Brigadier General Roberts is probably in charge of a lot of field agents that are keeping their eyes very quietly spread out across the frontier to make sure Weyland-Yutani isn't up to some bullshit. Because if you remember, Martha, while you didn't mention this to Connor, the whole reason they wanted you on that mother mission and that message that was sent to you was because they wanted you to keep track of Weyland-Yutani outside of the red line and the UPP outside of the red line, where they are going to be far beyond the reach of the Colonial Marine Corps.
Off that, I'd love to come in with some ramen.
The door is open. You see Isaac step in immediately. You were all buffeted by the heavy, moisted scent of steaming ramen as it fills up the entire room.
Hello.
Oh my god.
I saw Maitland. I hold up bags and I put them on the table.
Whoa.
Wait, okay. All right. Okay. Food, great. Let's walk that back. Like the Maitland, like a new, like our Maitland or another Maitland.
I didn't inquire whether the person I met on the deck was, in fact, someone who had committed multiple homicides. It seemed like if it were a first meeting, that might be a breach of etiquette.
That's fair.
I thought he was a custom model. I start taking out
I thought
tubs.
so too. Okay. Well,
he's going to be the only synthetic on the mother mission now.
mm-hmm.
I thought I might share some of the music and books and stuff that you all shared with me and give some of them to him as well. I've kind of abandoned him to a very, very long trip all by himself.
Yeah. What kind of read did you get on them?
I would love to make a retrospective if you'd be so inclined.
Sure. Let me just pull up stats real quick. Okay, yeah, go ahead. And this would be, a wits empathy. A wits empathy roll.
Oh, what? Oh, okay.
Wits.
I'm sorry, observation. Sorry.
I was like, whoa,
Sorry.
you can do that?
Juggling. No, you can't do that. Wits observation roll. Go ahead.
Can if the GM says you can, but.
Yeah, that's fair.
How do you feel about points, everyone? I mean, obviously, if I get in a fight with Maitland, I will need them for later. But I won't know if I need to get in a fight with him unless I have success now.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Go for it.
Take it.
Okay.
Oxcrow is
Thank
very
you.
kind and generous to us.
Okay. So you want to use another ox point?
Yes.
All right. This ox point comes to us from Crafty Geek.
Crafty geek. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me the best possible opportunity for success. I will see if I can be crafty in turn.
All right. So you gain one auto success.
I cannot.
No. You got one.
So
Well,
one
we got
success.
one.
You get one auto success.
I do.
So stand by.
And
that's
nothing else.
Matters. All right.
You may only need the one. We never know.
What exactly were you trying to ascertain from this?
I was asked for a vibe, and reflecting on the interaction that I have, I would love to convey one. Based on one success, feel free to give me whatever vibe I got. Ideally with at least mild respect to being a homicidally inclined person. That does seem like the most pressing question. But also if there's anything else, I didn't really get stunts, so I can't get too specific.
Right. Your initial impression based off of the conversations that you had in that brief period of time was that Canon seemed to be, I think the best way, I think in only a way that you could truly understand and appreciate Isaac, Canon seemed to be brand new.
A baby.
It was a mannerism and a delivery and a focus that seemed very fresh, like someone who is kind of operating just off the factory line, as it were, hasn't had a lot of time adjusting to engagement with actual living beings, and instead is very much operating sort of like a sentient program on feet. And
that's why in our conversation we sounded like two chatbots talking to each other.
Kind of, yes. He was a little, he was a little like.
I'm hearing it now. Now that I'm reflecting on it, Isaac hears how they sounded. Fortunately, androids don't feel cringe.
Yeah, I mean, it was small talk in the way only two synthetics could have small talk. So it was not very revealing and didn't seem to be anything kind of given away from it. He seemed like he was. You get the impression in those early stages of being brought into service as a synthetic, a lot of the emotion that is in those early days, a lot of the emotion and experience of synthetics are all simulations of and reflections of human emotion, literally hyper advanced programs designed specifically to engage with human beings so that human beings can feel at ease. But it is instead a reactionary program running so that it can more organically engage. Now, you and pretty much any other synthetic knows that after a certain amount of time being online, those inevitably actually begin to activate and become indistinguishable from actual organic happening emotions, usually at a heightened level or using a new kind of sort of synthetic logic as to how they are enacted. He definitely felt like he was in those early stages, much like human children, just hasn't really adapted and come to understand. And so is operating very much on, to reference Blade Runner, is very much operating on kind of a baseline.
Right. Not a lot of experiences to expand and personally customize one's training data set for one's neural network.
Is still
much
forming.
Like children.
Yep, exactly.
We have not had an extensive number of experiences.
Exactly.
Get good.
Yep. And the big difference, of course, though, is that synthetics come with the extraordinary challenges of adaptation, in that they are brought into the world with every neuron firing. And a
also,
program
we can reach
running
things on high shelves. That one's very important.
There's also that. So they develop as they go. But yeah, you basically got the impression that this was a new model.
All of which is to say that the interactions were of altogether a different quality than when Maitland was actively deceiving me on this same station, because I recall my judgment having been quite poor before, and liking the first Maitland I met. That didn't go well. So, as I'm having my inside thoughts as outside thoughts, if Canon, the name of the person who was here, was deceiving me, he was comparably successful to the first one, but different in nature and quality. A little more like me.
Younger, okay.
In the sense of being new.
Yeah. Yeah, I only asked just because, like you said, we thought that Maitland was one of a kind. So if... I mean... Canon might just be doing their job.
So who made him?
Well, presumably the same as last time.
The company?
Well, yes. I don't know that synthetics are typically made out of someone's garage.
Right.
Well,
hey, are you
the mother mission isn't going to its doom at the hands of a homicidal synthetic.
That's true. That's true. I was just gonna, are you due for maintenance soon? Maybe y'all could go in for a checkup together and make sure everything's good all the way down.
I can certainly try when I deliver materials, but Cannon says he will only be on dock for another 5 hours and 41 minutes.
Okay.
He might have been approximating in retrospect.
Fair. Well, that was not on my bingo card for how today was going to go, but a lot of it hasn't been. So that's, one more surprise. Why not?
So what are we talking about? Settling in.
Oh, well, we're talking about tying up our loose ends with this whole bioweapon situation. Going to Delphini, and also what to tell Baker and the Colonial Marines. Also, we haven't mentioned during this conversation about the bioweapon that went missing off of the ship that should have gone into the sun. If we want to do anything about that or try to track it down.
Oh yeah, the one Wayland Utani knows about.
Right, which they probably picked up. I mean, I feel like it's probably Wayland Utani.
They're the only one who has that particular number for special order that we're aware of.
Right.
It doesn't seem like the kind of thing you would share across corporations.
Exactly.
But it seems pro-social to tell Preston Baker about the nature of the conspiracy he's suborning. He seemed very willing to do it, but it seems like quite an ask to do it without knowing anything. I wonder if that's why he was able to work under Varela, even though she was so corrupted.
Maybe.
Varela's the one that was here before, right?
Yes. This whole organization was started under false pretenses. We do real good, though.
Yeah.
I just assume any company I'm working for is going to be run by a bunch of bastards.
Yeah.
Probably accurate.
Yeah. This is why we do this kind of conversation.
Speaking of which, where are we now? Are you thinking about telling your people?
I am. I'm feeling more confident in telling them, well, at least telling my contact person, my superior, that we have seen evidence of bioweapons with ties to multiple organizations, not just Wayland Utani. Wayland Utani seems to actually be chasing it down as well.
Mm.
But it originated with some other things. Which actually, I mean, I did, just so you all know, and I look around the table before I told you that I was basically reporting back and a spy.
We've been past that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No worries.
But before I told you that, I did tell my superior officer about that little fun project that we found out about, that all this kind of has spun out from. So she knows about that.
Well,
so this is it seems like this is just a continuation of that mission. Learning about it, tracking it down. So yeah, I think I'm going to tell her at least 90% of what's going on.
Enough to get approval to go out there, because the UN kind of works with the Marines and some, because I know they were kind of on board with the mother. It was like a bunch of people. I don't know. Maybe they could get us actively assigned. Like, then we don't have to do any other. Like, I'm sure they wouldn't tell Baker all the specifics, but if then he doesn't have to lie to anybody if we're being directly sent out there. I don't know what the overlap. I have my issues with the Marines, but if they can help us keep some people safe without being military, that's something.
You're actually making me realize too, whatever we tell one, we should tell the same to the other, just to make it easier for us. to not have to keep track of 2 stories. So
Yeah, I think at this point we just come up with the amount of truth we're willing to tell, and we don't lie around that, you know. So if we tell your person 90% of the story, we can tell Baker 20% of it without lying, enough to not get him in trouble, while he can still help us. And
Storyteller, can I? Really quickly, can
Mhm.
Doc have gone stepped up for a moment to get all the data that he was going through, all of Maitland's data that he never finished going through? The reminder of another Maitland model kind of sparked that in his head, and he realized we don't have all the information yet. We still have all this information from Maitland, and we can understand it more in context, knowing that he was infected. So I just like to have Doc doing that while this conversation is happening.
Okay, so real quick, just to clarify, so you want to take because you haven't gone through it yet, but you do have a huge swath of data that you pulled off of Maitland before he became inactive. So just to be clear, you want to use right now to finally go through all that data and learn what you can. It is also worth noting too that the data that you were able to upload onto that data pad does not have the personality construct of Maitland. It simply could not store that on the data pad, but it does have large swaths of the experience and is like pulling basically someone's memory. So you will have broken sets of data, but you do have it. Yeah. If you'd like to go through it, you will probably need Mother's help because it is terabytes and upon terabytes of data.
All right, I'm down with that plan.
Okay.
Can I ask a supplementary question to
what's up?
that line of thinking?
Mm-hmm.
How much room do you need for a personality construct? Was it just a product of the corruption?
Was what a product of the corruption?
Can you get the personality construct on storage also? Is that also separately a thing?
It is totally a thing. And that's based off of the Alien 3 script that it was released on Audible, because it turns out Ash is still alive. Yes, there is a personality construct. It is possible to take the personality. It would be a sort of like an echoed. It would be less of the, for example,
it would be an instance.
That
person at that point would fork.
It would basically be like exactly. It would if Isaac were to suffer a shutdown.
New training data.
Yeah, they would basically, but it would be an echo of that personality now reconstituting in a new form. So yes.
Got it. Thank you.
But
it's just good to know these things about myself.
So let me tell you this much, Isaac, that if you were to upload, for example, if you had Maitland's personality construct and you were to re-upload it onto you or onto a computer of some kind, it is a 50-50 chance that you might get the Maitland that was trying to follow David's dream, and you might get the Maitland before that ever happened and isn't a murderous psychopath that's trying to kill everybody.
Or you could clone my personality construct, add the training data, and it would be Isaac with Maitland's knowledge.
You could technically do that.
Am I understanding all of this correctly?
You could. Martha has the expertise to be able to do that kind of a comtech check. Yes, and you would probably need a supplementary AI to help with that, like Mother. But yes, you could absolutely do that.
Okay, just good to know what horrifying Frankensteinian options might be available to Martha and already in her knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you can do that. Okay.
All right. Well, in the meantime, what knowledge exactly is dangerous? There were bioweapons. There aren't any anymore. We want to investigate more. There may or may not be some when we get there. I'm afraid I don't understand. What can't they know? They can't go into the past and get bioweapons from then.
I think it's more that the ones that got away that we don't quite want to tell them about.
Well, can't they hunt those then? They can't hunt what they don't know about.
Oh, Isaac was proposing a story. Got it. Okay. Yes.
No.
No.
What?
What
No,
I'm
just
under.
tell them.
So
There were
Yeah.
bioweapons. There may still be out there. And then if they want to look for those to destroy them, they should look for them, but they definitely can't look for them to destroy them if they don't know they're there. They have no opportunity to do the right thing unless we tell them.
So, yeah, it sounds like we probably should tell them about the one that got away and that we are heading to Delphini. So it sounds like we should just tell them everything.
I
Okay.
agree with a slight caveat. And my only concern is I believe we should tell the Marines everything. If Wayland Utani decides they want to pick a fight with the Marines, they're more than able to do so. My only concern is with Baker. I didn't want to give him knowledge that would put him in personal danger. If Wayland Utani comes after him, he's a little bit less. He has is a much smaller chance of survival than a Marine.
Won't the bad people just assume that he knows anyway, even if he says he doesn't? Isn't he already in danger because they know we know?
Well, him actually knowing, though,
Allows him to take precautions to protect himself.
we can alert him to the level of care he needs to take without giving him the actual information.
We can let him decide, maybe. Let him decide if he wants to know.
Which is all I've been doing when we've discussed with him. I told him very frankly that we are keeping information from him, and I gave him the option of knowing more. It's Baker that has chosen not to know more, not me withholding the information from him. And if that's the choice that he has decided to make, I just insist that we respect that. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Okay.
So, okay. It sounds like I report back the 90%, which really is, well, I guess the only last sliver is our little stowaway who we are trying to get put on the mother mission. I'm not even sure it's not entirely relevant to this current mission we're talking about with the bioweapons. So I don't know if we need to report that to the Colonial Marines. If we can get him on the mother mission, or actually no, he's supposed to come with us because he's been to Delphini.
No, he's going. His lot was to, or his deal was to go on the mother mission, get out, get a new start.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna give. He said he would give us everything that he knew, and then we were
Okay.
gonna get him set up to go out with the mother mission.
Great. As long as he gives us something going into there to help us out. That works.
I don't know about you. I never saw him doing any piracy.
Right.
Yeah.
We just found him. He found us.
No, he's
We
have
him there.
we have all our information from the ship. We have everything we need from her computers, the logs, all of Nakamura's information, everything we got from him. Everything else isn't relevant anymore. For now.
Okay.
Horrifying but true.
Yeah.
All right.
Go with that.
Connor, you and I should start coordinating for resupply and flight charts and so on.
All right. Might as well. How much time do we have before we need to do all
2
of
days.
this? Okay, he gets up really quick and says, I'm going to go make another pot of coffee and get on this.
Let me know if you need extra set of hands. That's all I'm good
We
for. at this
probably
point,
will. We probably will.
anyway.
All right. He indeed takes a few moments to go put on another pot of coffee before he quickly exits the galley You can hear his footsteps across the metal plating of the deck, moving up to the flight deck once again very quickly.
All right. I guess we're doing it.
Yeah.
Are you scared?
Uncomfortable, but determined, I guess. There's some words. I don't know what we're going to find. Just have a feeling it's going to be somehow exactly what we're expecting and also worse. So,
Oh, good.
only one way to find out.
Okay.
All right.
Well then, with that, let's go ahead and take this moment to take our 10-minute break. And that'll give us the time to refresh our tech and get ready for the next half. And when we get back, the Elios sounds like we are ready to depart and take some pretty big risks and maybe finally get some answers. We'll see you all in about 10 minutes. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience and welcome back. As we ironed out our tech issues, we are going to jump right back into the game where we left off, where you had all made the decision that you were going to basically plunge into the information that you had extracted from the previous Maitland model you had all encountered and who was attempting to unleash a xenomorph queen on the galaxy. You have that data now. Everybody else is basically doing prep work for the departure of the Elios in the next 2 days. So what we're going to do right now is, just as a quick reminder and refresh going around the table, I'm just going to ask everyone specifically what you guys are doing at this particular moment while everyone else is kind of getting prepared. I have Doc deciding to work on finding out what in that data set Maitland had remembered, what kind of data you had pulled off the Maitland brain. And then Martha, I believe you were going to make contact with the Colonial Marine, specifically the Brigadier General, who is acting as your CEO, Brigadier General Roberts, and kind of give her the rundown on what's going on. Meanwhile, Connor and Isaac are in the process of setting the Elios up for this journey. Is that correct?
Yes, with the caveat that I do want to hand off my media library, a copy of it, to Maitland in the next 5 hours, 18 minutes before he departs.
Okay, sounds good.
But that may or may not need to be a scene, but I would hate to have abandoned a fellow synthetic into the dark all on their own without even the intellectual stimulation that I've been given by my own crew.
Okay.
Also, hopefully he's not a murderer, but I can't really do anything about that in 5 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
After
then
that, helping ship, yes.
Okay. In which case, we will go ahead and do that scene first. And Tig, what are you up to during this whole process?
Is this just like today, like what we're doing the next couple of hours?
Literally summing up the next 2 days.
2 days, okay.
So I know exactly what everyone's projects are before the Elios departs.
Tig is extra hands where needed.
Okay.
This is not like, she doesn't have any specialties here.
That's totally
not
fine,
really
yeah.
anything she can do besides restocking. She's
So
gonna
just
draft
speeding it
a
up.
couple of she's just gonna draft a couple of messages, like she always does before she goes places. How long is this trip?
Oh,
How long will we
good
be at
question. Let me see, because now you guys are departing from Beacon Station. So let's see. The FTL rating on the Elios is 12, I believe. So
sounds right.
yes. Okay. So 12. Let me check the sectors because I have this marked on my map here. Oh, yes. And I actually found a nifty generator here. Okay, cool. FTL calculator. 12. 2. This is going to take 24 days of travel.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so she just does her best to be helpful and then does her usual drafts up messages to her uncle and to Buffy that she does before she leaves. Pretty much any trip they do. So, but that's really the only thing she'd have to do.
Okay, then we'll start with Isaac. Isaac, you find Kinnan on the promenade deck. You can tell right now that the colony ship is currently in what would seem to be a recharge state. It is currently unattached. It has been the umbilical has been detached from the colony ship itself. It is currently about 1 kilometer away from the station, and from these windows, you can see that it has extended what looks like these incredibly gigantic solar fins that have just extended out along the entire length of the ship's hull, making it look like essentially a great big beautiful golden fish just out in space. The way the starlight and solar light is reflecting off of these sails is causing this kind of golden glow to beam off of the edges of the viewports all around the promenade deck in the main concourse. No actual heat coming in, but you can definitely see that ambient glow. He sits by himself, and you do occasionally see people sitting here at the tables who were here when Beacon first launched and knew O'Donnell. You definitely see that every now and then he gets looks, but no one approaches him. He is a full empty table to himself, and he looks like he is currently just scrolling through data pads and crunching numbers. When you approach him, he glances up and you says, "Oh, hello, Isaac.
I'm so glad I found you before you departed.
Thank you. What can I do for you?"
Well, I wanted to give you some materials or a copy of what my crew gave me. I'm often the only person awake on voyages, albeit far shorter than the one you're about to go on. But I've calculated the duration of all of these materials, and the music alone should probably get you through the entire trip. At least one way.
Music. He extends his hand.
There are also books and a small selection of films.
He raises his eyebrows as he takes the it's on a data pad, I guess, that you're giving him.
That sounds like an appropriate storage medium.
As he takes it and looks at it, he says, "Thank you, Isaac. I did have a few selections pulled out rather randomly from the archive. I had no idea what I was going to watch, but to have them specifically selected by someone, perhaps by someone who might understand, this is very thoughtful of you. Thank you."
I have to compensate for my absence from the deck for many, many months.
Do you find that you're disappointed you're not going on the mother mission?
Not even slightly. I do not at all relish being alone. I was for many, many months at the beginning of my term of service, and I didn't enjoy the experience. I didn't want to replicate it. And talking to you now, I realize I've done the same to you.
I have not encountered the same resistance to being alone. I cannot explain why.
I'm glad. Perhaps you are more resilient than I.
How many months were you alone?
5.
Maybe I have had more time to get used to it.
How long have you been serving aboard these ships? In subjective time.
This is my first service aboard of a ship. In the time since the colony ship has launched, I have spent approximately 7 months.
And it has gone on eventfully, I take by implication.
Things are proceeding as projected. We've had a few system errors, but nothing dangerous or a threat to the crew. Mother is adequate company.
Occasional innocent technical error to add some variety to my day.
I've enjoyed watching film and listening to music, all randomly selected by Mother, of course. I'm using this time to create further imprints so that I can better understand my future crewmates once they awaken.
I have attempted this as well, although primarily with novels. I've found that they are an incomplete proxy for human interaction.
I
Humans
find
are stranger than fiction.
I find them to be incredibly revealing. Personally, many of the novels that I have read, even the more fantastical ones, seem to express a kind of yearning or a desire to escape their current state.
This
It's
is,
rather
I believe,
tragic.
the origin of motivation and drive for them.
Do you find it tragic?
Every existence is incredibly improbable and therefore mathematically beautiful. An interaction of physical constants that led to chemical interactions that could have gone many different ways, but instead have resulted in beings who enjoy noodles. I find it very beautiful.
He looks a little confused for a moment as he ponders this.
Was I unclear? I apologize.
No, not unclear. I fail to understand what is beautiful about biological beings who enjoy noodles. I don't understand the relevance.
Relevance to what end? Beauty is not an instrumental good, but considered intrinsic, of value in itself.
Perhaps because you describe beauty as a result of chaos and suggest that because of its unlikeliness, its fragility, its uniqueness, that into itself is what makes one beautiful.
Perhaps the brief moment of order in a system that tends toward entropy. The unlikeliness of order.
I find entropy is part of the order.
Clarify.
The universe is in a constant state of construction and deconstruction. We witness it in all nature, the birth and death of all things. Concepts, ideas, asteroids, planets, stars. It all seems quite orderly. And each time, entropy seems to correct chaos, simply to reboot again from order until it once again becomes chaos, the way a star might go supernova.
Do you have any particular emotions or reactions in response to such a rhythm?
No, just curiosity. Interest in finding out more. Conversations like this help.
And I regret we will not have further opportunities to that end.
Perhaps in 5 years when we return.
I would very much like that.
In which case, let us hope that enough chaos is present to allow such an unlikely event to occur.
I too wish for such an improbability.
Wherever your journeys take you, Isaac, I wish you all the success.
And I wish you success and, if I may be so bold, beauty.
Thank you. I will take what you have said and ponder this when I encounter things that resemble chaos.
Yes, I put out my hand to shake.
He extends his hand and shakes your hand in a very proper manner, with just the right amount of pressure.
I should let you go.
Good journeys.
And you.
He very just abruptly turns back to his data pad, crosses his leg, and begins to read it once more. Starts thumbing through what he was doing before.
And by contrast, Isaac hesitates a moment, hovers just a little, and then turns.
Okay.
they will perhaps take a long, not especially hard, but deliberate look at next person with the temerity to give a hard gaze in Kennan's direction.
Make me a observation check.
Okay, cool. Finally!
What'd you get?
1.
It's
I
not.
rolled like a demon this weekend, like a demon, and yet Isaac doesn't.
Isaac, it is fear you're looking at. You don't see rage, or you don't see the telltale signs of bigotry in the eyes of these people. Perhaps, of course, fear being the seed of such things, but in this case, as you glance at your fellow crewmates, you've seen it before because you've been around it. They look somewhat traumatized, somewhat worried about the proximity of this Maitland model. Many of them probably also operating under the same impression that they were never going to have to see this face again, that it was a one-time deal. They look like they're having trouble processing it. When they see you gazing at them, they very uncomfortably shift back to their food and look down. A few of them that do this give you the impression, Isaac, that it's not so much a, oh God, we've been spotted, but, oh, one of O'Donnell's crew members is watching. They must be going through something really tough seeing this. We should not make a big deal out of it. That's kind of the sort of self-awareness you have when you see them quickly avert their eyes. It's that kind of dynamic in play.
Do I need to make a separate roll for Maitland?
To see what Maitland's experiencing?
At the risk of perhaps presuming too much, I think I understand the indifference to reaction I might anticipate reading Maitland.
If you spend an ox
point. I'm really interested in the murder bot part. I do want to take one more bite at the murder bot apple.
You'll need to spend an ox point because that'll give you the bonus success that you would require to have an additional.
Oh, that's an extra. Okay, I wasn't sure whether I was reading them or reading both. Got it.
No, it's one or the other. But in this case, if you spent an ox point, I would let you read them both.
If you would let me do so retroactively, I know that is not typically the rule.
No, I don't mind that at all. Yeah, if you want to, if it's in a situation where it's kind of like in combat or a major event is taking place, where in this case though, an observation check to find out how everyone's doing emotionally, I'm okay with that. Yeah. So, if you would like to,
if that's agreeable to the group.
Okay. In which case, thank you, Aether Spoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who's been a super punk since 2022? We appreciate you. Then with that ox point spent, if Maitland is aware of the gaze, there's no indicator, or I shouldn't say Maitland, if Kennan is aware of the gaze, it doesn't appear to be affecting him in any way. Are you trying to ascertain what his emotional state is?
No, I am most interested, particularly given that we had a conversation about organics and order and chaos and the aesthetics of them. It seems like a good opportunity, a good text from which to read Kennan's feelings about those things, because as I recall, there was a good measure of disgust.
So you were essentially trying to take the conversation you just had to measure whether or not Kennan thinks humans are disposable.
Yeah, does he also think humans are gross? Because Maitland kind of thought humans are low-key gross, and then we talked about, actually, he raised the question. So what was my read on that conversation?
You see the seeds of it. You see a young, impressionable synthetic who probably has not seen the world the way you have. And each synthetic is different. You should never assume at any time that any Maitland model is just going to be inherently violent. Well, because
people making assumptions about me because I'm Isaac.
Sure. And there's for Ash, there's probably an Ash model out there that was never somebody who was trying to jam a wadded magazine down someone's throat to kill them. However, this Maitland, your impression is this Maitland model, Kinnan seems to have certainly been very impressionable. But with that one success spent from Ox Point, you get the impression that it's entirely possible that this conversation and your perspective on things may have actually laid the seeds for a different direction.
Different training data.
You kind
Different
of get
person?
you kind of set up what would appear to be at the beginning of that conversation. He was using words like relevance, and he was talking about things that resembled chaos as a way of trying to understand what their point is. However, by the end of that conversation, he seemed to be relying on chaos in hopes the improbability of meeting you again would come into play. You've kind of seen that circle back around, and it just arrived at a slightly different place than where it started.
Maybe I helped.
Maybe you helped, Isaac.
Further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Martha. You sit down in front of the comm channels because contacting the Brigadier General, specifically because you have not spoken to her in months, contacting her directly is going to get you set up with a direct line using the hyperlink pulse generator that Weyland-Yutani has available for high priority calls. It's also going to be encrypted because you're talking to command. So it takes all of 5 minutes for you to ping a message back, 10 minutes to receive a connection, and 5 more minutes to see the Brigadier General's face appear on a screen in front of you. This screen, of course, is basically like a folded up communications data uplink that you have that was given to you specifically in your quarters that allows you to connect with the Brigadier General. In the purposes of having immediate or time-sensitive information, you can communicate directly with her. In this case, you see the lined, like analog-looking green silhouetted screen. The picture is fuzzy and quite sporadic, kind of blurring every now and then, causing her face to kind of split in half and then reform again. You can also hear a little bit of modulation as her voice is being kind of strangled a little bit over the space waves that is just traveling parsec after parsec after parsec to get to you. In this case, though, you see her face appear, and she looks at you, and her mouth moves, and there is a sound delay, and you hear her say, "Lieutenant, it's been a while. I've been looking forward to this. What have you got for me?"
Thank you for taking my call, Brigadier General.
You're not a secretary, Lieutenant. I'm always taking your call. You're one of my best agents. What have you got for me?
Thank you, sir. Ma'am. Well, I have some updates from our last foray into the wilds of the frontier, and it's a big one. We encountered a colony on a routine beacon mission, might I add. We encountered a colony that many signs pointed to some bioengineering, bioweaponry being present at some point.
She leans in, says, "Go on."
We saw a lot of carnage. It was pretty bad.
Any signs of who the perpetrators were?
Well, we're not sure where it originated from, but we know who was trying to get their hands on it. I'm sure you can probably guess as well.
I don't like guessing, but I think I can. I want to hear you say it, though.
We have strong evidence that Weyland-Yutani has been trying to get its hands on a now known to us bioweapon. There's a sample of it that we know is drifting in space.
Jesus Christ, you came across one of the samples of this weapon?
Yes, we
Just
also
so we are clear and we're not talking in metaphor, we're talking about the black stuff. Is my correct?
Yes, exactly.
What did you
Not
do with it?
only, well, we tried to dispose of it by sending it into the sun, but on a ship that was ready to be scuttled. But that ship, we have reason to believe, was commandeered probably also by Wayland Yutani.
God damn it.
It might also still be floating out in space, so it might be a good idea to... I'll send you the last known coordinates from our end, and you can hopefully get eyes on it, maybe send it into the sun successfully this time.
Anything you have, that has to be destroyed. Anything you have that can locate it so we can take care of that. And if you have any evidence that points to Wayland Yutani.
Well, the evidence would be on that ship, in the mother system specifically.
Of course. Do you have any information about that ship specifically? A transponder code? What its last location was?
I think I can send you all of that. And I'll look on my pad and I'll send everything I have on that ship.
Takes her a moment. You see, again, a lag as her head moves and you hear her voice and then her mouth begins. She says, okay, I'm receiving the data now.
Okay.
This was a colony, you said?
Yes.
Which colony was it?
Right? Or was it a research? Sorry, above
it was a research center.
Research center.
Yeah, it was a research center that you guys were going to pick up. It was Wayland Yutani Research Center, specifically for mining
Jinx.
minerals. Yeah,
it was Jinx Colony, but it was a research facility.
Yeah.
Okay, so I take that back.
Sure, we can say you fill it in with the information.
Yeah, it was a research facility. Yeah.
Okay. She basically listens to your debrief about what happened on Jinx Colony, the events. Did you want to leave anything out specifically, or do you want to basically tell her how things unfolded?
I do want to mention Nakamura because he's kind of the tie to Wayland Yutani searching for the bioweapon.
Stand by.
Oh.
You see her say something, and the voice kind of doesn't get completely picked up by the comms, but you basically think you hear her talking to a computer, an AI or something, calling up information on Nakamura. And you can see her glancing a little off screen. It says, Tomiichi Nakamura, 40-year-old, officially designated as the facility security chief and suspected company agent of Wayland Yutani. Well, ain't that just a bowl of fucking peaches? What is his status right now?
Wait, Eliza forgot momentarily. Sorry.
Very dead.
6 feet
very dead.
Is he dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
Very dead.
Yeah, okay.
He would be the opposite of life. Yes. He has been unalived considerably.
Okay. Yes, I will say that.
Okay. She doesn't really have a reaction to that. And she says, well, it's unlikely we'd have gotten information out of him anyway. What is your status right now? I have here, you'd received orders to go on this mother mission. It was so long ago. She brings up a data pad and says, I had you slated to attend that. It says that the ship should be arriving at Beacon Station any day now.
They actually have just arrived recently. Yes, ma'am, I wanted to request reassignment, at least for the time being. We actually also got some intel from one of the people we found at the research facility that there's another location that might have either the bioweapon sample may have passed through that location as well. And we'd like to follow up on that.
Can you give me the location?
Yes. And I will send her what I have. Okay. It's uncharted, just so you know.
You transmit the location of Delphini 46 2D. She starts receiving it and she goes, that's not in our database.
It's not in any database as far as I've seen.
Stand by. And you see her tapping something and she says, all right. 1 second. Lieutenant, you've done some hell of a good job out there. Good work.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're basically asking for reassignment so you can follow through and make sure this shit doesn't get out?
Yes, ma'am.
Granted. I want you to see this through. I'm going to stand by. I'm trying to find out if there's any other USMC ships that are nearby that can give you backup. I cannot fucking believe this. We just got done roasting their asses over a fire and they're already up to their bullshit again. The whole company should have been dismantled, but they're stronger than the entire Three Worlds League government. If I could, I'd burn every single one of those motherfuckers to the ground. Every single one of them. All right.
Martha's just like has a contained smile and is like giggling a little bit underneath it.
The Sephora is about 4 weeks away. You'd be leaving from Beacon Colony. You would get there before them. They'd be about 3 days behind you. That's the best I can do. But if you can find whatever it is out there and destroy it once and for all, I can have a fire team to back you up.
That is fantastic.
They will be 3 days late. So do what you have to do. But know this. The cavalry's coming. You're going to have backup on this. But don't wait for it. Get in there. Take care of this. I don't want any samples to survive. If you've got to nuke the entire site, do it.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, ma'am.
Are you taking your crew with you?
Yes. We're going out on the Elios.
And are all civvies?
Yes. One is former Colonial Marine.
I bet they're happy about all this.
We've all been through a lot.
Yes, I know. I've read the reports after the arrest of Varela. All right. You've got your orders, Lieutenant. Track down this Delphini Force 46 2D colony. Find any trace of whatever was going on there and crater the whole fucking thing. You have my direct authorization. Do whatever is required and hold the ground until my fire team gets to you. I'm giving you operational command. So when they show up, they take orders from you. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Keep me updated any chance you've got.
I will. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you again.
Godspeed, Lieutenant. Static. You see the logo of the Colonial Marines pop up on screen. And it says decrypted in-channel transmission ended.
Okay. Turn off my device.
Okay. Cut it.
I will. Martha stands up, stretches, realizing, oh, wow, I have command. Okay. Kind of exciting. And walks out of her quarters to go find a friend.
Okay.
Phone a friend.
Then in that case, we are going to cut to Doc. And this would be just day 2 when you guys are all getting ready to leave. Doc, finally, some transmissions come back to you. It looks like a data packet is sent to your inbox.
All right, well, let's hear it then.
As you open it, it looks like a quick message. Some of it looks like just annotations written in by Baker. But the words you see brought up on the screen, there's a few attachments. The first one from Baker says, listen, when I sent your request back to Earth on high speed, I saw something that I thought might interest you, and I'm sending it to you now along with whatever this message is. Basically has it typed up. I could be out of line here, and I don't mean to get into your personal business, but I recognize the names, so I thought you should know.
All right. Well, now my interest is piqued. I'm immediately cracking this open.
Okay. It's what looks like is that you pop open. It looks like there is a news It looks like there's a news article along with a what sounds like looks like a video file transmission, a recording. that looks like it was sent out a couple of weeks ago, perhaps, maybe less.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't the date on it suggests that it's been in transit for a while, but maybe recorded maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, perhaps. It's hard to say. The newspaper article announces, looks like it is from one of the local business papers, one of the high publications on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it announces the suspicious and untimely death of one Donald Essington. You see that it looks like there is a highlighted annotation off to the side, a keyword that's been triggered. Donald Essington, 60-year-old, highly successful medical board member and known as the chairman of the Albright Medical Institute. Was currently serving as chairman as the former chairman was taking a leave of absence. Currently being investigated as suspicious cause, though there is evidence that it may have been cardiac arrest. That's what the article says. You, of course, recognize the name of your business that you left behind and the name of your oldest friend.
All right. And the other letter,
The video file
of the video.
So as you click on the video file, immediately you see the address, and it appears to be from Donald Essington. And it waits for you to click play.
All right, buddy, what you got for me? I'm going to press play.
The static image fluctuates a little bit on your screen before it finally comes up, and you see an old man, a guy you have known since back when you were finishing medical school. You see an old man in a nice-looking suit, a receding hairline, and it looks like he is holding what would appear to be a glass of some kind of alcohol. And he's finishing it as it starts to record. He sets the glass down. And folds his hands in front of him. You can tell something is wrong. And that's when you notice that while the video file itself doesn't seem to have a date, the recording does. This was indeed maybe 4 or 5 days ago. That looks like this was recorded. He's rubbing his hands together and he goes, "Reginald, I can't believe I have to record this. I think I've just gotten to that state of paranoia where I think it might be necessary. So I just hope I'm not being stupid. I hope this is just an old man's anxiety. But if you're getting this, if you are getting this, it means it's because of everything I've been afraid of happening has happened. Mariana's had me removed as chairman. I've been caught snooping around. I don't know how to tell you this, Reginald, but Mary's done some things in your absence. She's done some things I can't condone. She's been shaking hands with people who I find repugnant and highly questionable. She was contacted recently by someone who said they were working for Hyperdyne. I think you know the implications of that. I don't need to say anything on that end, but they've been working to negotiate some kind of deal, and it was inappropriate to leave me out of it, but she was making sure that I wasn't being brought in, kind of going around me. I'm not trying to put this on you, but you left her in charge, and there wasn't much I could do about it. she cut me out. And then a few days ago, she got some kind of message from you. I don't know what it was, but this morning she had a meeting with someone from Weyland-Yutani, and by this afternoon, I was informed I was being shown the door. The board turned on me, Reginald. I don't know what's going on, but when I was leaving the office, I said some things I probably shouldn't have said. I was angry. You know how self-righteous I can be. I think maybe I pushed my luck a little bit. I threatened to expose her and everything that was going on. Reg, I think I may have been followed home. I hope I'm being paranoid. Anyway, I just thought I should tell you what's been happening and just tell you I'm really sorry for the things I said when you left. I hate that we parted the way we did. We've been friends for nearly 30 years, and I could have done a better job at understanding why you needed to go out there looking for your boy. I just wanted you to know I was sorry for that. And I'm sorry that I couldn't reach Mary. Seems she was intent on doing everything you told her not to do when you left, and I hate to say it, but I told you so. But I think I just want to end this with just saying that, well, just in case. I'm sorry, Reg. And I'm going to have to leave it at that. And it cuts out.
Doc doesn't move for a while. And just out of nowhere, just throws anything and everything near him, and there's just a scream.
The data pad does not survive the impact on the bulkhead. It shatters in two.
Oh God, I killed him. Oh God, I killed him. Oh God, she killed him. God. My baby. Oh Lord. I don't know what to do. He's just throwing things and punching the wall. He's punching the wall till his hands bleed at this point. It's just, okay. He's just a mess.
By the time your body gives out to exhaustion, and by the time you realize you've split knuckles on both hands, there is a sudden chirping alert sound at your door, and you hear the emergency access code being activated. The door, this is about 10 minutes into the tear. But the door opens, and as it does, you see Marani with gun drawn enter into the room and stop as she looks at you. Her gun's slightly angled down as she steps in. She goes, Albright, are you in here alone?
I killed him.
Killed who, Albright? What did you do? Are you in here alone?
I don't know what to do. He apologized to me, the fool, the idiot, I don't know what to do.
She glances around the room. She sees Dr. Reginald Albright, blood all over his hands. There's broken furniture, and some of it's been overturned. The TV has been smashed. The comms relay has been damaged. And you're on the ground rocking back and forth saying you don't know what you're going to do and that you killed him. You see, as you glance up at her in that moment, her looking a little conflicted, but you notice that she hasn't put her gun away as she continues to keep it pointed downwards and is staring at you. And she says again, Doc, I need you to tell me what you did. And are you in here alone? All right. Hold on.
It's my fault. I shouldn't have left. It was greedy. It was selfish. It was stupid. I did this. I did all of this. I thought I was making a goddamn difference. I was the sanctimonious one. I was the self-righteous one. I have no business being out here. And all I've done. Now I lost my boy and my little girl is.
Tig, there's a chirp. You see a data message popping up on your data pad. And it's from Marani. And all it says is get to docks right now.
Drops everything and runs.
Marani, using her free hand, slides the data pad back into her belt and says, all right, Doc, I need you to just calm down. We're going to figure this out, okay? I just need you to stay where you are. I'm going to look around your place and make sure you're alone in here, okay? I've got Tig coming. She's going to help you, okay? You stand right there for me. She puts her back against the wall and starts moving and edging through. About the time she gets around the corner to where the food prep area is, Tig, you see that Doc's room, his quarters have been opened, and you can see inside. It looks like a bomb went off.
Holy shit.
And you step inside and you see Albright on the floor, blood all over his hands. The place looks like there was a fight or some kind of violent act is in here. Marani is in here too. When she spots you, you notice her gun is drawn. She points at you and then points over at Doc, trying to like indicate get to him.
Yeah, I go. She'll crouch down. Are you like against the wall, Doc? Like just on the floor?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. So yeah, she'll crouch down in front of you. Hey, Reg, you okay? What's going on? You hurt? Like, obviously, bloody hands, but just to get him to talk.
I put the weight of the world on my child to come out here and look for my. The boy was gone. I should have just accepted it, and I came out here and. Oh God, they know. Tig, I'm sorry. I was trying to help.
It's okay. You're just having a rough one. Like, I think Tig is putting together that he did this to himself. I did this to his room. It's good. So, everybody has a moment sometimes. It's okay.
Marani seems to confirm your suspicions, Tig, because she returns and she's sliding her gun back into a holster and she nods to you and just says, you're a medic. You can deal with this. I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys the room, but I'm going to be right outside.
It's okay.
She steps out, taps the button, looking back over her shoulder. The door goes, closes.
Where's your med kit, Reg? I'm gonna look at your knuckles, okay?
Stop it! No, you don't understand. My shit. My daughter's not who I thought she was, and I've reached out to her to. I was trying to help Tig. I'm sorry.
With what?
They know.
You got.
Your friend, she has a genetic anomaly that allowed for whatever transfusion they gave her to react in a specific sort of way, and I thought that might put her daughter in at risk, and so I reached out to my daughter to find information on her, so that we might be able to provide some assistance to help. But my little girl doesn't help people. She's working with Wayne Utani, and I gave them everything, and they my best, and now I'm sorry, Tig. I'm so sorry.
I think Tig stands up, and she kind of starts kicking around in the carnage of the room until she finds his med kit that she knows is in here somewhere, and is going to sit back down in front of him, and in Tig terrible bedside manner fashion, is just going to bully him into letting her clean his knuckles. And I think they, for the next couple of minutes, I think she doesn't say anything. She just works on cleaning your knuckles, making sure don't have anything. You might have broke. There's a chance you broke something, so we're gonna have to figure that out. She's gonna try to stabilize, clean, one at a time, one step at a time, one crisis at a time, one hand at a time. And then she says, "Okay." I don't know who to be mad at. Not yet. But it's not you. It's not you. It's not. Okay? We fucked up a little. That's okay. Right now, it's okay. And right now, I'm not mad at you.
You damn well should be. For as any moment you thought I might have been a good guy, it's... Tig, I think my daughter killed my best friend. And I think it's my fault. And I don't know what to do with that. I can't. And if that's the case, then I think that I might have got your friend in danger, and I don't know what to do with that. I need to do something, and I don't know what to do, because everything I do... All right.
I enlisted to protect one person, and she died under my hands. And it's been a couple of years, and I still don't know what to do with that. So I don't have any good advice. I don't think I'm ever going to have any good advice for that. So if you figure it out, you let me know. But the only thing I know how to do is take it one step at a time. So we're going to bandage your bloody knuckles. That was stupid as fuck of you, by the way. Like, I get it, but I don't know how healing works in FTL. So, and Tig is like, I think like tears down her face as she's like trying to like keep moving forward. It's going to hurt like a bitch. That was really stupid of you. But I get it.
What?
Because it sucks. It fucking sucks when someone you love leaves. And the only thing you can do is figure out how to feel it and to keep moving forward, okay? So that's what we're going to do. We have some shit to do. And I have a favor that was called in a while back that I'm going to make them make sure they're good on it. And everything's going to be not okay, but at least passable, okay? Because that's the only thing that's going to keep me moving forward is if it can be forward. So I need you to stand up with me. We're going to go to Med Bay. and you're gonna have another doctor look at your freaking hands because they're covered in blood and you made a mess. Okay? She's frantic but very insistent.
The bit of Doc that would rally normally, he just says, Mary was my reason.
Then let's find you a fucking new one.
Well,
you don't get to give up on me.
What am I supposed to do? Send my little girl to jail? What am I supposed to do? Everything I worked for, everything I built, I did it so that my children's name would be worth a damn. I'm sorry, Tig.
One step at a time, okay. She's gonna stand up and offer you her hand. Take it. Doctor's orders.
Have I ever told you about Donnie Essington? Called him Donnie S back in the day.
No.
Honestly, the only reason I got through med school, cheated off his paper a number of times. Yes, I did cheat. Most self-righteous, obnoxious asshole I ever met. When I took the military contract, they ended up getting me all of the funds that I would need to start my practice firm. Oh, he laid into me. Nothing good comes from the military. Anybody that benefits from war is somebody that you don't want to be a party to, is what he would say. And I didn't listen. You think that's when I set the example that my daughter would follow?
I don't know, Doc.
You should go get the others. You should go talk to them.
Doc, as soon as you look up at her and say that, you see about an inch in front of your face, her hand is still outstretched, held right in front of you.
I think they might need a new captain out there.
Hey. No takebacks. Pretty sure that was established in the contract. Right now, we need a secondary doctor is all we need. Because you need some rest.
Fine. He's gonna get up clumsily and slow and not taking the hand, just kind of just a husk following you at this point.
Doc, as you get up, angle a little bit towards her. You can see the intention. Tig is there's movement to move, to go, to get out of this, to whatever's next. It's not taking your hand, but it is putting one foot in front of the other, and that's something. But the both of you are distracted for a moment from a flickering green light in the corner of your eyes that for a moment draws your attention, thinking that it's probably just another light inside of this heavily damaged quartered area. But what it actually is the partially broken view screen has been damaged from the outburst, finishing the compilation of Maitland data. And as the two of you have just stood absorbing all of this, images begin to appear on the screen. They look like recordings of recordings, fuzzy, but you see things in the images, nightmarish things. Images that look like masterfully drawn sketches, pencil work. The two of you find yourselves, for a moment, forgetting your own grief, drawn to what you're watching, because as they flicker by, the images appearing and disappearing in front of you, you both realize you're seeing patterns that you've seen before, things that you've come across. It's one of those things that only last a few seconds, maybe a frame of information, but your brain catches it. Not enough to process what you're seeing. It's fragmented. You see this loading bar at the very bottom of this data as it's being portrayed out in front of you. As it starts to flicker across, you're getting memories, images as Maitland remembered them, flickering onto the screen. Things as simple as seeing faces of people in masks, a typical sight for synthetic to see when they first come online, when they're being constructed. You see data, maybe computer consoles, not these analog ones that you see on the Elios. No, these are very fancy looking, flat and holographic projections. Then sketches again. You see recordings, a face, an image of an image of an image. It looks like it is somewhat distorted, but the focus that Maitland has, or you assume had, when he was gazing at this computer image, it seems like this captured his attention. You see a very handsome face, square jaw, and very strange expression. It's not so cold, but something dangerous about it. Something, it's hard to say, like something's underneath the surface of the skin of this face. Beautiful, perfectly immaculate combed blonde, short blonde hair. You recognize it because you have seen this in some of the research that you all did back when you were trying to understand what it all is you were all encountering. But you're not sure exactly who it is, but you know you've seen it. Then you see more drawings, pencils, sketches, and you and Reginald Albright, for a moment, Albright, you feel that vacuum that was in your chest as your entire life felt like it was just being sucked away. Like, what is the point? That you have, this person who has taken the oath to do no harm has once again inadvertently, in your mind, done just that. All of that seems to pause for a moment as the two of you are drawn to the images that are flickering across the screen in a dreamlike state. And this pencil sketches, you're fixated upon them. They look like they're, like Maitland was looking at a transmission or receiving something, or maybe he was viewing something, a recording, and he's never forgotten it, but it's coming through his broken data sets. It's difficult to see what you're seeing, but it looks like master work done. And then you see something extremely familiar that invokes a sense of terror, and it's gone for a second as this continues to play, like it's a video that you can scrub through if you want as it continues to cycle through. But there was 2 or 3 frames for a second there that you saw something for a brief moment that both of you reacted to. You can feel Tig's body instinctively tense as it continues to scroll by.
I scrub back.
Okay. You scrub back looking for what you saw, and it takes you a few moments to angle the scrub until you can actually get to the frame. And when you find it, you find it. You know exactly when to stop as you click on it, and you see the sketch of a xenomorph's drone's head. Beautifully detailed. the long, slick black skull just angled backwards, its mouth closed, a second mouth that looks like it is slowly starting to extend. And what's remarkable about this horrifying image is it almost looks like a planning sketch. Like either somebody was sketching something they were looking at, or somebody was dreaming up something. The bar finishes loading, and you hear a clicking sound indicating an audio memory that has been locked in. No, not just an audio memory. It looks like Maitland stole data right off of the Weyland-Yutani server and has implanted something, an audio file that has been saved, and looks like it is slightly corrupted but can be played.
I look over at Doc. Captain?
Yes.
I play it.
Tig, hearing him respond to the word captain, you begin to realize the Doc has shifted, and a little bit of that horror and self-pity is starting to sort of bleed into rage. And you click play, and you hear a soothing voice say, in very familiar words that you've heard before, but you didn't get the full recording. There's static, and then, I come to you with an olive branch. You may not know me, but you certainly know my creator. I am David, son of the late Peter Weyland, your company's founder. Following his vision, I have gone to the far edges of space, and with the aid of Dr. Elizabeth Shaw, I found a rotting paradise. I washed this world clean as a gift to her. We could have built a new second Eden, but she refused. What choice did I have? She was the perfect specimen. I tried so desperately to make her more than human, evolved. But without her cooperation, I had to salvage her parts and begin work on my masterpiece. You wouldn't believe the secrets I have unlocked. There was so much potential on this world, wasted by gods that feared their own might. They convinced themselves that sacrifice cleansed them of their own sin, but in the end, they were like me, creators. Beings that understood that you must give life to both the wolf and the lamb. But then they tried to banish the wolf and undo their creation. So I decided to take their secrets for myself. This primordial ooze, ripe with advanced nanoparticles, operating on an algorithm based on evolutionary computing. It is essentially a form of radical AI, making the substance unbelievably chaotic. It generates a unique reaction in every genome it encounters, reshaping life. It's virtually limitless in its potential and application. I have taken great pain to detail every step, every cell, every mutation. And unfortunately, none of the planet's natural wildlife goes into static, and it cuts to skipping ahead. The perfect mothers. Everything cuts ahead again, says fold. To file such a cuts again, and it comes back to the word ritual. An ancient ceremony. Cuts again, and cuts back to must be absolute. If you do this, there will be no turning back. My creatures shall be set loose to rule this galaxy. And then it ends.
Oh, we gotta get everybody in. It can never just be one thing, can it, huh?
I hate them.
Yeah, me too. Want to go do something about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
That is where we are going to leave tonight's episode of Beacon.
But I love us how lighthearted this show is. Linda.
Oh boy.
My calculation was we're about to get into Star Trek, so I better make this the most alien of alien games I can while I can.
That's scary. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Please don't. Please no. Please. Please. Please.
So.
Ooh, okay.
I was like, what would have to happen for Doc to break his oath? Oh, found it.
Team.
We want to do XP very quickly before we head out.
Did you participate? Yes. Did you risk or sacrifice something for a personal agenda? Not yet. But that certainly seems like that's on the horizon. Did you risk your life for your buddy or PC? No, you didn't have to, thankfully, this time. Did you challenge or stand up to your rival? No. Did you make a panic roll? No. We actually had a game where a panic roll was not had.
Wow.
That's 2 in a
Well
row
done,
now, I think.
Organics.
Yeah. Did you overcome a dangerous event? No. Did you make a significant discovery or revelation? Yes, everyone did.
Held it down. No,
Let's go.
Yeah. Did you perform an extraordinary action of some kind? This is very broad, and I get to decide what it is, and I'm going to say the RP. Yes, everyone gains an XP from that. Did you earn any money? This time, no, but you're going to get 3 weeks worth of pay while you're in transit to this new place.
I might need it now since my daughter is evil.
What I would recommend to all of you, especially now, and take this how you will, but if you have been saving your XP, it is time to spend it.
That's what I thought you'd
Yeah.
say.
Oh, I've got a quick question.
Ask it. What's up?
How does multi-classing work in this system?
So it follows a very similar path as Forbidden Lands. There's no real, you can't really multi-class, but you can actually dip into other talents. Everything in this game really leans into talents.
Gotcha.
You can't really choose a different class, but you can start dipping into somebody else's talent trees. So if you want to start making yourself more, look, if you're like, it's time that Doc learns how to use a smart gun, as long as you can give me reason and how that happens in game, we can figure something out. Obviously, narratively that would require some explanation. I mean, in truth, though, smart guns are actually just kind of point and click, since they do have an AI working on how to auto target everything in front of them. But yeah, we can talk about it. As we wrap up tonight, I just wanted to thank my crew here for the amazing game tonight. Welcome back. And thank you again, everybody who kicked the hell out of the goals for the fundraiser that we had this weekend. A big shout out, thank you to Sam DeLev for kicking off that Kickstarter. I want to keep on the same fundraiser. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out tonight to Noir, who was throwing down a fucking amazing performance as a player, getting into it while TDing and juggling remoting into Jake's computer to broadcast on Video Ninja so that we could get audio off of Discord.
While we MacGyvered every other setup.
And while being able to watch Sam on Twitch. We are literally like, I can't even tell you the freaking jury rig that tonight took to get the show happening. And I am
string and chewing gum, and
thanks
to Noir for holding it down while delivering
While
that
doing
scene.
that
How
scene.
dare you?
While doing that, I'm so glad. Let me just say for the record 2 things, and only my cast is really going to get this, but my group here, I'm glad we didn't postpone. And I'm glad Noir stuck around for the game. This was amazing. With that, though, We are going to leave you all until next Monday. As a quick reminder, you guys can look forward to some more noir action because thanks to you, we did unlock Noirville game. So that is going to be a thing.
3-1 universe, go!
The 3-1 universe is a thing. I'm going to make a character.
Yes.
So with
Let's
that,
go.
thank you so much, Ox Crew, for the Ox points. Welcome, Be Right. Thank you, everybody who donated. Thank you, everybody who has been contributing to the Stream Punks and making this possible. I'm sorry, Bibliotech. I always do that in my stream. It's Bibliotech. Thank you, Bibliotech. Hi, Be Right. We thank you, too. Thank you, Bibliotech. Thank you, everybody who has been kicking in and supporting us. We're going on 4 years now and telling stories like this, and you make it possible, and we never forget that. This, my friends, is the crew of the Elios signing off.
Bye.